Greetings, everyone, and thank you for virtually viewing and attending the Arc of the Quad City Area's Honor Tree celebration. My name is Michael Glanz, and I serve as the Executive Director for the Arc of the Quad Cities. The Honor Tree is a remarkable event in the life of the Arc because of everything it represents. The tree represents the natural ebb and flow cycles of life because of the names of the tree represent the people who have helped us grow the Arc into the organization it is today, and those who have been an integral part of the Arc's family. It is both a time of celebration of the lives of the Arc has touched and reflecting on those who have touched our lives. There are so many lessons we can draw from trees. Trees harness the energy of the sun during the growing season, and when the seasons change, the energy is pulled into the branches and trunk. When warmer weather arrives, that stored energy is transferred into the new growth and the cycle is repeated. Trees teach us that for every time there is a season and time for every purpose. Each season has equal significance and all are required to maintain balance. Today, we are gathering around one idea that people with disabilities should have the same opportunities as everyone else. It is also a time to reflect on the feeling of gratitude and to thank the people that have helped us grow the Arc into the organization it is today, and those who have been an integral part of the Arc family, appreciating their gifts and honoring their histories. The Arc is guided by the principle of full inclusion because we know that when the dreams of any member of our society are deferred, we are all diminished. Everyone has a vision for his or her own life. I am proud to be part of an organization that helps people with disabilities gain the confidence to advocate for more meaningful lives, share their voice, believe in themselves, dream big, become a leader, and achieve greatness as they define it. We know and recognize that the journey toward independence is different for everyone, but it's everyone's right to build a life that is right for them. As part of the Arc's family, we are paving the way to a place where everyone will grow to appreciate people with disabilities as well. The Arc was established to help people with disabilities fulfill their true potential and to reach their dreams. The people who have been asked to share their stories tonight and today have all had a part in making that vision of inclusion happen. We are honoring the people who have helped to make the future more inclusive through their gifts that have strengthened and enhanced the essential services people with disabilities rely on. We see their support as part of an ebbing cycle of growth that helps carry the motivation, ambition, and drive for people with disabilities to achieve their goals. Truly, without the gracious support of our donors, the robust supports we provide people with disabilities could not be sustained today. Fall is the perfect time to reflect on the contributions of our donors who have made a significant impact on this organization and to relate our fond memories of the individuals served by the Arc who have passed over this week. Jim Bishop is quoted as saying, "Autumn carries more gold in its pockets than all other seasons." That quote is a fitting for our Honor Tree celebration because we honor those donors who have given a portion of their treasure that helps support the important services the Arc provides. The Honor Tree is a symbol of cycle of each season. Our donors are like the trunk of the tree that provides stability and structure upon which to grow. The color-changing cycle of the leaves symbolizes many generations of lives who have been touched by the Arc services. Today, we are recognizing and honoring the passing of individuals served by the Arc, whose memories we are honored to share with you today. We celebrate the lives of individuals who are at the core of the Arc's mission. This year, we have 8 individuals served by the Arc, whose lives we will honor. They are symbolized on the gold leaves on our honor tree. We have asked that their loved ones share pictures, stories, and videos to honor their passing and to honor their life. We want to thank you to everyone who was able to contribute to this ceremony today. These were really a joy for us to compile to get to know these individuals even better. Today, we celebrate the lives of Christine Nelson, Crystal Clements, James Jim Skavitas, Jeremy Wells, David Gatos, Nancy Koenig, Richard Dick Chandler, and Mary Welsh. The names of these individuals will be added to the honor tree and will serve as a constant reminder that they will always be members of the Ark of the Quad City Area's family. We thank you for sharing this moment with us today.
Crystal was a very gentle and good person. She was my firstborn. She was a very beautiful baby with lots of dark hair. Despite her disabilities, she was an easy child to please. When she got upset, there was definitely something bothering her. She could also be very silly at times. She had certain toys she loved. She also loved the TV, Christmas lights, music, and the outdoors. I will love and miss Crystal forever. Crystal's mom, Julie.
David Gatos just loved to be around people. He would always be in the center of the action. He didn't use words, but he had a way to make sure he was heard. If he wanted someone's attention, he would give you a soft kick so you knew he was there. David always sat at the head of the table and would use his spoon as a gavel to get people's attention. He would also genuflect and make prayer hands as if presiding over the table. If food was being prepared in the kitchen, he wanted to be there to observe. He was a constant companion to staff. He would often sit in the office while they were working. As long as he was part of the atmosphere of the home, he was happy just to be there. Every group home feels like a family, and without his constant presence, there is a hole at his home in 8th Street. He is greatly missed. Jeremy Wells missed his calling as an interior designer. He had a thing for moving furniture. He would go into the supervisor's office every day and rearrange the rug. It wasn't right until Jeremy placed it just so, usually at a slight angle. Jeremy was a man of few words and was hard of hearing. However, if staff were speaking of a topic of interest, he could hear quite clearly and miraculously. Some began to suspect that his hearing was selective. Jeremy did not speak, but if you put his hand on your throat, he would attempt to say your name. Jeremy was a happy man and quick to give a hug or a smile. That is, unless the house was not arranged to his liking. Then he would switch furnishings around to see if the staff noticed. He was a great roommate because he liked things to be neat, so he often would make his roommate's bed in the morning. Jeremy liked his floppies, or stuffed animals, that could be tossed and land just so. It kept him entertained, especially stumping staff to where these animals would land, the roof, over the fence, on top of the air conditioning unit. Part of the game was getting staff's reaction to where his floppies had landed. He would smile with glee, especially if there was a big reaction, and staff would often comply. Jeremy will be missed by many, especially his roommates at his home. The furnishings just won't go together without him.
Hi, my name is Alexis Platoni. I am Jim Skavitas' older sister and his guardian. And my brother Frank and I miss Jim so much. He was our beloved younger brother. And I remember the first time my parents brought him home, Jim had been crying, so his face was red, and at that time his hair was kind of reddish. And I looked at him and I thought, I don't know if I'm really gonna like this all red baby. but he grew into this. This is Jim, and I think he was about 2 in this picture, and I love this picture because it seemed to me, in my heart, and I guess in my memory, this is what he looked the most like. Oh. Jim was old enough that there were no public schools that dealt with people with special ed disabilities. My mom wrote to many schools, and she finally found one in Pennsylvania that would be academic for Jim and residential. And he stayed there from age 5 to 12. And he would come home at Christmas time, and we would go to see him in the summer. And this is the picture that they took in one of those booths where you get 4 or 5 pictures. And I love it. They both were happy. My mom and Jim would have to take the train to Chicago at that time and then fly. A picture of Jim and Teresa, who was one of the loves of his life, or was the love of his life. Jim didn't have much skill in picking girlfriends. He would just randomly pick somebody and then find out she was already had a boyfriend. But Teresa didn't, and as I understand, he was really a gentleman, tried to help her, and he would tell me that they would ride home on the bus together, holding hands, and they would talk on the weekend, and they would tell each other they loved each other. So Jim loved Teresa. He also loved a good piece of steak or fried meat. He loved riding his bike. He loved, I had written all that on.
Growing up as siblings, we quickly learned that Mary was the light of our lives. She brought us all so much joy and happiness throughout the years. Mary loved and appreciated her family and friends so very much. Even the smallest kind gesture that someone would show towards Mary, it would bring the biggest smile to her and a big thank you. She was always thanking everyone. She loved to spend time with her family. She loved to work on puzzles, play on her iPad, FaceTime with all of us. I live in Georgia. Terry and Paul both live in the Quad Cities, but that was a big deal for her and me, of course, because it let me see her. She also loved traveling to Georgia. She'd come back in the day with my mom and dad, and then more recently with Terry. Terry and her would take the however many miles it was, traveling in a car, spending the night in a hotel room. Mary just loved it. And I, of course, loved it. My husband and my kids loved it when she would come to visit. Mary she loved working. She would constantly talk about all the different jobs she did. She was so proud of either, I learned about hangers, her doing hangers, or the butters, or, different things, all of her different jobs. And I loved listening to her talk about it too. Some of the other things I remember most is Mary's favorite things to say. Her biggest thing was no comment, no comment. She would say, I'd say jokingly, Mary, I'm your favorite sister, right? And, I couldn't even trick her. She'd say, no comment, Karen, no comment. And there was no tricking her. She never wanted to get in the middle of anything. She always stayed neutral. She loved to text so many times a day. 20 different times a day. She'd say, "What are you doing now? Pictures, please." And she always had the manners. She always did the please and thank you. So it didn't matter what we were doing. If I was watching TV or if I was outside, always snap a picture real quick and send it to her. And that meant the world to her. Sometimes we thought, oh gosh, not again, Mary, you just asked me a half hour ago. But, what it meant to her was a big deal. Also, that kept her a part of our daily lives, even though we didn't get to see her all the time, especially when all this COVID hit. And even Terry and Paul couldn't go into her house and see her. She just wanted to be a part of what was going on in our days. Probably her most favorite thing to say was behave. She constantly would ask everybody, "Are you behaving? You behaving?" And I'd say, "No, Mary, I don't know how to behave," or different things. And she would laugh. Her laugh was so contagious. She would just laugh. But I'll tell you what, when I asked her if she was behaving, I'd say, "Mary, are you behaving?" She'd say, "I'm perfect little angel, Karen." And I'd say,
So it didn't go both ways, I see.
yes. But now I can totally agree with her. She is.
Favorite story of Mary was when Mom was, baking Christmas cookies and stuff. And I think it was like the Spritz cookies were on the kitchen table on the little trays, cooling racks and stuff. And Mary was sitting underneath the table. And I guess she was just reaching up and eating warm cookies.
Oh.
And they said it came to the point where it came to be like dinner or something. And then after dinner, we were going to have cookies. Well, Mary didn't eat more cookies. She'd eat so many, she made herself sick. But he said she's probably up with Mom now, that she'll probably be sitting at their table eating cookies. There's something special about Mary, that she had this way with people and I even, I think Sunshine told me too, with her house, if somebody was upset or not having a good day, Mary always tried to cheer people up. Mm-hmm. And she would do the same with us. And Dad said his other favorite story of Mary was when Mom was, baking Christmas cookies and stuff. And I think it was like the Spritz cookies were on the kitchen table on the little trays, cooling racks and stuff. And Mary was sitting underneath the table. And I guess she was just reaching up and eating warm cookies. Oh.
And she was amazing. She was a lot of fun. And she was the glue that held us all together, I tell you. I mean, she was so sweet. And I know I learned a lot from her, just with her personality, but the things that she would do. And I mean, and you'd get those nights. I'd get those nights because I work nights now. I work for Metrolink, and I drive a bus, and it all depends on how things are going. If I can get off the bus and snap a picture or send her a text, and there'd be times where I'd get like 4 or 5, 6 messages. "What you doing? New picture please," Uh-huh. And then I would use the Snapchat, and I'd make goofy stuff. And I mean, I don't know how many weird looks I would get from my passengers or people walking by at the mall, like, "What the heck is that?" And holding the phone up and doing something funny, and then I'd send it to her, and she'd laugh and send more. And I tell you, man, I miss those. Those requests and that. But she was she was a wonderful sister. The bus driver I got to, and my wife is also a driver with Metrolink, and we've gotten to several times take Mary to work or pick her up from work and take her home.
Oh, really?
Metro does that with the ARC.
Yes.
Well, when the ARC was working, and I've had so many drivers say stuff to me regarding Mary and how they really she really touched their lives and touched them. And she was the same way. Like on the bus, one of the drivers, Buster, told me, he said I really like Mary, because if there was people that were arguing on the bus, Mary would put an end to it.
Really? She was an arbitrator.
Because it was just the ARC passengers on our bus at the time.
Yeah.
There'd be nobody else, and she would tell people to settle down or behave.
Yeah.
and they would listen to her. He said there's times I would say, "Hey, we need to we need to stop arguing, or we need to stop, and they wouldn't listen to me. But if Mary said to behave, then everybody just kind of sat there.
Nancy Marie Koenig was born on November 21st, 1958. She weighed 3 pounds 5 ounces. She was born 1 month premature. Due to the fact that I had some problems before she was born with developmental disabilities. She stayed in the hospital for 1 month, and she weighed 5 pounds when she came home. A 5-pound baby is very small, and my husband and I were afraid to hold her at first. She was a very happy baby. She was easy to care for, and she rarely cried. Nancy did not walk until she was 24 months old. Once she walked, she soon got very fast. Nancy couldn't talk, so I had to be sensitive to her needs, her likes and dislikes, and so on. She had a sense of humor. One time when Nancy was about 6 years old, it was a few days before Halloween, and I had a large pumpkin on an end table waiting to be carved. I went to the store, and her dad was babysitting. I was gone for about 45 minutes. When I got back, the pumpkin was on the other end table. I asked my husband why he moved the pumpkin, and he said I didn't. I said, "You and Nancy are the only people here." I asked Nancy, "Did you move that pumpkin from here to there?" And she laughed. I asked my husband, "How did that happen?" He said he might have dozed off for 5 minutes. I'd say more like half an hour. Nancy played a trick on her sleeping father. She would do things like that from time to time. Nancy was very sweet, and Kim and I will miss her. We have some very happy memories. Sincerely, Laurette Koenig. Richard Chandler had flair and an eye for shiny objects. He was fond of rings, watches, and belt buckles. He adorned himself in these treasures and wasn't one for subtlety. He wore them with gusto and had an entire collection to support his fashion choices. One of his favorite things was to scour thrift stores for any item with bling. He made everyone around him feel like family. If he liked you, he would say you were his mom, daughter, or wife. And he had many wives, daughters, and moms throughout the agency. Says Christina Bell, he would often notice things that other people didn't. If you were feeling down, he noticed and asked how you were feeling. One time, he overheard a staff member tell another that she needed to buy her children clothing for school. He wanted me to help him sell some of his belt buckles to help her out, said Christina. That was just Richard. He wanted to help in his own way. Richard enjoyed getting out and enjoying a meal at any Chinese restaurant. He loved Chinese food and people. He also watched Westerns in his cowboy boots and any song by Johnny Cash. Richard will be missed by all his wives, daughters, and moms throughout the Ark, and by his roommates at his home. We will all miss Richard's personal flair, smile, and his laugh. Rest in peace, cowboy. Tina Nelson was a quiet person until she sang. If the oldies channel was playing, she could belt out any tune. Her favorite was KC and the Sunshine Band's Shake, 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 which was her all-time favorite. When it came to transitioning or taking a shower, not one of her favorite things, that song would get her through it and make her sing. Tina also loved patriotic songs and had a wide repertoire. Tina just had a thing for music. No one knew she could play the piano. She just sat down one day and learned to do it by ear, pounding out the keys until she learned simple tunes like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. She had amazing concentration. She would sit down to do a whole puzzle without stopping until it was complete. She did not enjoy being touched, but preferred to express herself through other forms like song and crafts. Tina loved people watching. She had an easy chair by the window and could spend hours just gazing out and enjoying the scene. She often did this while enjoying tea or coffee. Tina will be missed at her group home. It will be a quieter place without her.
It is my honor to recognize the donors who have achieved a significant milestone in their support of the ARC. The bronze leaves on the honor tree represent donors whose cumulative contributions have amassed a significant cumulative total of over $5,000 for individuals and foundations, or $25,000 or more cumulative for organizations and corporations. This year, we add 6 leaves to this distinguished group of individuals. Chris and Stephanie Kramer, Travis Cutler, Clarence and Lily Darrow, Emery and Virginia Doonan, the Roush Family Foundation, M. Kathleen Susie. We would like to honor all of these donors. Your contributions will strengthen the ARC's mission and services for generations to come. The gifts made by all of these will benefit people with disabilities now and in the future. Their gifts help people with disabilities break free of old limitations and push through to a new cycle of growth and achievement, to defy the expectations laid upon them and define what kind of life they want to make for themselves. Their achievements will help everyone to evolve into a more caring and kind place for everyone to live. Thank you to all our Bronze Leaf honorees who have aligned themselves with our important mission. Their contributions literally expand the doors of opportunity wide open for people with disabilities, giving them the resources they need to grow. Thank you all for tuning into the 2020 Honor Tree celebration. We hope this finds you well and wish you a beautiful fall season.